For 9 generations, an evil sorcerer has been victorious in hand-to-hand battle against his mortal enemies. If he wins a 10th Mortal Kombat tournament, desolation and evil will reign over the multiverse forever. To save Earth, 3 warriors must overcome seemingly insurmountable odds, their own inner demons, and superhuman foes in this action-adventure movie based on one of the most popular video games of all time.
Welcome to the Run It Back Podcast, where we run back everything from the 80s and 90s. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah.
And today, if you don't know by now, we are running back Mortal Kombat from 1995.
Hell yeah, we are.
So why'd you pick this movie?
Because it's fucking awesome.
I think it's great and it's not great at the same time.
I mean, it's not what I would call a cinematic masterpiece. We're not talking fucking Avatar or what the fuck ever. But it's a good goddamn movie. Especially if you liked the video game.
Yeah, if you played the video game, were a fan of the video game, you're definitely gonna like it. If you didn't, you're gonna be like, this is a piece of shit.
And if you played the video game, the opening credits, it's gonna draw you right in. Because it's a fucking banger from the beginning. Like, it does that traditional, like, Mortal Kombat with the song. So could you imagine how awesome the beginning had to be? Like, if you were in, like, I didn't see it in a theater, but like, you're in a dark theater, you're hyped up to see this movie anyway, you got your popcorn, and then this fucking opening sequence happens. Oh my god, I'd be fucking coming in my seat.
I don't know about all that, but the opening is pretty good.
Oh, it'd be fucking awesome. I would like to go back in time and see it in the theater. So the movie starts, and you have Liu Kang having a dream about Tsung killing his brother Chan.
In Mortal Kombat.
Well, it's not in Mortal Kombat. It's how he actually kills him.
But I think he went to the tournament, like a previous tournament.
No, this is Tsung killed him to get Liu Kang to go to the tournament. Because his master tells him he was training for the tournament. He kills him at the Buddhist temple that they live at. Yeah.
I always misunderstood that.
Yeah, he kills him in order to, like, make Liu Kang go to the tournament. Because he doesn't believe in any of this stuff.
Now, I was always confused why Raiden and Shang agreed on the best warriors for Earthrealm. But I guess it's because in order for them to take over Earthrealm, they have to defeat Earthrealm's best warriors.
Right.
And to coerce them into coming, that makes more sense.
Right. So when Liu Kang awakens from his dream, he has a Western Union, which used to send messages from, that says, brother dead, return home, from his grandfather. So then, like, you're kind of just going through meeting all of the participants. So next you go to Sonya Blade, and Jax. And they're hunting Kano. Now, they're hunting him through... Well, first of all, Jax says something like, I got your back, or whatever, you could trust me. And Sonya was like, I trust one person, Jax. And you're talking to her, you're looking at her. I was like, okay, this bitch has a little bit of trust issues from the jump.
Now, Kano killed her partner.
Her partner.
Previous partner.
Right. But Shang Tsung is there as well. Like, he's in the office of this nightclub talking to Kano. Making the deal that he has to make sure Sonya gets on the boat. And that he's not allowed to hurt her in any way because she has to participate in the tournament. Yeah. But here's the thing. Like, this club is packed. People are dancing. She rolls through with her SWAT team. She has, like, a combat shotgun. She sees Kano or one of his guards or goons or whatever. And she shoots through this glass. Nobody flinches. Nobody notices that she has a gun. Even after the shotgun blast, nobody moves or quits dancing or notices. And I'm saying, there's just not enough drugs in the world that these people don't notice.
Drugs are bad.
No. I mean, maybe I'm working off of, like, today's standards of, like, heightened awareness of guns in public places. And because these shootings happen all the time. But these people at least should have stopped dancing and, like, screamed and ran away, right?
They don't even have to scream or anything. Just get away from that
You would think, like, the record should have scratched and stopped, and everybody stopped and be like, oh, run away. It's weird. So then you meet Johnny Cage, who is a movie star asshole.
Bingo.
Now, Johnny Cage was based, like in the video game, was based on Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He was a very terrible representation.
Of Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Do you think Van Damme is like that?
Well, he was an action star who the press didn't believe was real, but was actually doing these things for real. And a bit of an asshole and arrogant. And yeah, I totally believe Jean-Claude Van Damme's like that. Now, they offered him the role of Johnny Cage in this movie, and he turned it down to go be in Street Fighter.
Probably a better choice.
Just based on movies, or?
Based on the movie, yeah.
I don't know. This one did kinda well.
It did, but I feel like Street Fighter might have been better.
It's been so long. Like, I rewatched this one a fair amount. I have not seen Street Fighter since I was a child. I remember liking it, but I don't remember a single thing about it, other than that Jean-Claude Van Damme was in it.
Do you think it had to do with more money, or that Johnny Cage isn't real? Like, he's a main character, he's just not the main.
I think it has to do with it. I don't know. That he was pissed off of that this guy was based on him, and he's kind of a douche. I don't know.
It would have been a fairly decent.
It would have made a good casting, yeah. So that director, like, Johnny gets pissed off because the stunt people he's working with don't fall down when they're supposed to. And he turns around and starts yelling at this director that he's going to go shoot himself for being in his movie.
Oh, Spielberg?
That director was supposed to actually be Steven Spielberg. Was supposed to have a cameo in the movie and had to back out at the last second. So, Shang Tsung is impersonating Johnny Cage's master Boyd. And he tells him he knows he's one of the best fighters in the world. There's a tournament. You can prove it. Be at this pier at such and such time. Get on the boat. So he's making sure all these people are there.
Yeah.
Then you go to Liu Kang's home. He goes back home with his family. And he's talking to his grandfather about how his brother died, and you apparently never paid attention to this part in your entire life. And said your brother was training for the tournament. He picked up where you left off. Liu Kang thinks it's all nonsense. He's like, it's bad enough you filled my head with that nonsense. You shouldn't have got to him too. He finds out Shang Tsung killed him, and he is going to be at the tournament, so he wants to go fight there.
Yeah.
But since he left for America, I guess the other elders are kind of iffy if they're willing to send him or not, if he's ready. They're kind of having like a tribunal, for lack of a better word, about whether he's fit to go or not, and Raiden walks in, who is the Lord of God of... I don't want to fuck it up with Thor here. I don't want to...
He's basically... Mortal Kombat's Thor.
He's Mortal Kombat's Thor.
No hammer, huge hat.
Right. Is supposed to be Asian, but in this movie is in fact a white dude.
Which I really, like, even before the whole political correct thing, like, I feel like Raiden has to be an Asian person.
Yeah, even as a child, I was like, this is weird. Now, even more weird, since we're talking about alternative casting already, they offered Sean Connery this role as Raiden.
That's even worse.
And then Danny Glover.
Lethal Weapon 4 Danny Glover.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you go with, like, Jackie Chan? Like,
it's kind of weird, right?
Like, I feel like, especially if you were aiming at trying to get martial artists in there, like, Jackie Chan would have been a great, like, mentor to these younger kids that are fighting. And he would also kind of been in the whole scope of what Raiden was in the game.
I don't know. So, just while we're talking about alternative castings that could have happened but didn't, Sonya Blade they offered to Cameron Diaz, and she was actually full in until she broke her wrist on another movie.
Oh, I don't know if I could see that working though, but I feel like
she looks the same aesthetically, yeah. But it seems like the action is weird because this girl did do like all of her own stunts. I can't see Cameron Diaz doing that. And also, after Jean-Claude Van Damme didn't want to be Johnny Cage, they offered it to Tom Cruise.
I could see that.
He turned it down, so he could do the first Mission Impossible movie. Which, I mean, turned out to be a
move for him.
But then later, they were filming and he wandered onto the set and asked if he could watch them film for the day, and a security guard, he was actually a medic, an on-site medic, doubling as a security guard, kicked him off and told him he didn't care who he was. It was a closed set and he wasn't in that movie to get the hell on.
Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so this could have been a very different movie with all of these people. Also, it sounds like it could have been a way more expensive movie.
Way more expensive. I don't
Like, you get
think...
Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise, Sean Connery in here.
I don't think you make the movie any better with those people.
No.
Because of the way it's written.
Well, that as well, the writer of the movie said that there was too much ad-libbing and that they destroyed his script.
Like, there's just the way the writing and I guess the ad-libbing and the way they cut it.
Yeah. I don't think it would have been served by a bigger actor.
No, that wouldn't have helped it if they kept it the same way.
Right, I agree. Where did we leave off? Oh, yes. They are undecided if they want to send Liu Kang or not. Raiden steps in and says, the tournament is too much responsibility, but vengeance is simpler. That's why you ran away to America. And Liu Kang doesn't believe Raiden is actually Raiden, says he's a simple beggar, and then he gets the old lightning eyes and gets kind of puffy and walks away and says he's going to the tournament with or without your consent.
But during that whole scene, the grandfather tries to take up for Liu Kang. When he's talking to the elders, he's like, please forgive him. American life is, what did he say?
Made his mind soft or something like that.
He's like, too much TV.
Yeah. So then you go to the pier where they're all trying to catch the boat. And Johnny Cage is sitting there talking to Art, who has a role later, when Liu Kang walks up, and I guess he assumes that he works there. And he was like, when the ship comes in, I want you to put my bags on board. And he was like, you want me to carry your bags? He was like, I give you money, you carry my bags. Is that too hard to understand? Liu Kang was like, no, not at all. Takes the money, picks up the bag, walks over, chucks it into the water.
Yep, and walks off.
As he should have. People online talk about asking uppity people in like grocery stores or Walmarts, whatever, shopping centers, if they work there, just to kind of humble them a little bit. And I think it's hilarious. Yeah.
I really want to see one of these interactions in person.
Yeah, that's funny. So, the Mortal Kombat boat comes sailing up. Creepy as hell. Like the Mortal Kombat dragon on the front. And Sonya and Jax are watching through binoculars and they see Kano board the ship. So Sonya takes off running after him. Everybody else gets on as they should. Yes.
She goes looking for Kano, but on the boat she is interrupted by Shang Tsung.
Right.
He basically tells her this is his boat. If you want a tour, he'd be glad to give her one himself. But she can't.
But he meant it way creepier than that.
Yeah. But she can't be,
killing Kano.
Going around unchecked, killing all his people here.
Right. So enter Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And their eyes are all blanked out, and he explains that they are mortal enemies, but are slaves under his power. And they kind of do a little fancy hand movements, and then enter Raiden, who's like, not the fucking day, son.
Well, he's basically going against the rules. Like, Mortal Kombat hasn't started, and he's already, bringing out his fighters to get these people. I'm just like, what was he gonna do when they show up to the island and there's no Earthrealm fighters? Especially
since he tried so hard to get them all there, right?
Yeah. But
they kind of get a little glimpse of what they can do. Like, Sub-Zero freezes Sonya's gun, and I don't even know what to call this.
It's the harpoon.
The harpoon, which they have made into like a snake kind of situation, comes out of Scorpion's hand. It never had teeth and a tongue in the game, right? It was just like a metal...
I feel like it had barbs on it, so when it did go in, he could...
Right, well, it popped the barbs out, but then it opened its mouth and had teeth and a tongue and looked straight out of Beetlejuice.
Did kind of look like a sandworm.
Yeah. So, they leave that engagement, and Raiden takes them to the bow of the ship, back to the top, and explains that they have been chosen to defend Earthrealm against Outworld. Outworld has to win 10 straight Mortal Kombat tournaments before they are allowed to enter Earthrealm and attempt to take over. And they're just like, what the fuck?
So he explains all that, and he explains they've won 9. If they win this one, it's over.
Yeah, we fucked.
And this is important.
And they're like, why are you just telling us? What about the other fighters? And he was like, fuck them, they don't matter. One of you 3 will decide the fate of the tournament.
He's like, they're trash.
Yeah.
He's like, I told them to delete the game.
Wow. Fucking bots.
They suck, get good.
Oh, so he's got his 3 tryhards here.
Oh, the sweats. No cap.
This took a weird direction.
They get to the island.
They do. So once they're on the island, they see Princess Katana. She's just kind of sitting under an umbrella, chilling.
She gives Liu Kang the eyes, though.
She does. She knows. She knows
trying
what's up.
I don't think she's trying to, like, get with him or anything, but she is trying to get his attention.
Right. And Shang Tsung sees it as well, because he tells Reptile to watch her and keep her away from the humans.
Yes.
So they're basically just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, Sonya's satellite phone won't work, her compass is going crazy. Johnny Cage really don't know what's going on. He has like 17 suitcases he's trying to deal with, since Liu Kang wouldn't carry him for him. So they go to a welcome dinner. They eat a little bit, and then Shang Tsung comes out with like a whole host of warriors and Sub-Zero.
Basically his goon.
Yeah. He tells them he wants to show them a taste of what's to come. And at this point, his goons just come out, flip over the tables full of food, throw the pillows, make everybody move so they could turn the dinner hall into a floor for the fight.
Yeah, it's like, this is one of the first stage that they kind of recreate in the movie. Only in the game, it's outside, and then there's the 2 rows of the goons, one in front, one in back. So they kind of go at it, but you know for sure, like, this red shirt Star Trek dude is definitely getting killed.
He's doing the fanciest of moves, getting ready, like giving it the old razzle dazzle, and then he just runs at Sub-Zero as hard as he can, and Sub-Zero just like throws an ice chunk at him,
olays and lets him shatter himself,
turns him into ice, moves, and he just falls and shatters. Yeah, like his whole body shatters, and then his head's just laying there.
And Shang Tsung's like flawless victory. Like, what the hell did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
When you let old Pete go after Sub-Zero. Yeah. Pete never had a chance. So it was like the tutorial in the video game, basically.
Pretty much. Holy shit, you're right.
The original didn't have a tutorial, though.
That's right, because growing up in the 80s and 90s, you just had to figure shit out on your own.
Yeah.
And if you lost, and you had to start all the way the fuck over and learn the pattern and figure it out until you got good. Kids today would have never been able to handle it.
Yeah, I've probably fought Goro, but before the modern remakes of Mortal Kombat, I probably fought Goro less than 10 times. I could probably count on both hands how many times I actually got to it.
I can't really remember that far back, but the modern versions, I'm trying to remember, is it Mortal Kombat X? I could not for the fuck of me get past Shao Kahn. Like, it took me months. But the 80s and 90s and me persevered, and I kept with it and just kept fucking trying.
And it made it feel that much better when you did it.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised I didn't spike my controller to the ground.
Like, games, like you said, games were different.
Yeah.
You had to, like in Mario Brothers, you could get extra lives through coins or, if you found one on a stage.
Right.
But once you were done, you had to start all the way back.
Yeah.
Well, newer games don't really have that. And the newest one I can think of was the original Destiny when they had the Nightfall strikes. If your team lost, you were sent all the way back to the beginning to start over. And not only were you sent to the beginning, you were just removed from the world altogether. So you had to sit through the loading screen to get into the game again. And it was so frustrating. But when you beat one, it was great. And then they changed it to where you have checkpoints now. And it kind of ruined the whole, we did the Nightfall thing.
Now, I did not play Destiny, but it was very entertaining to listen to you and 2 of your friends on your headsets, because you would lose, and then one of you who kind of took the position of the ringleader would be like, okay guys, circle around, listen. Alright, here's what the fuck we're going to do. We tried this last time, that didn't work, here's what we need to do this time, alright? Hands on 3. And then you would do it, and you would lose, and he'd be like, alright guys, so here's what's up. That plan was garbage, but I got a new plan, and here's what it is. And it was hysterical to sit there and listen. And y'all would do it for hours. All night sometimes. And he never lost enthusiasm. It was like, all right, guys, I got a new plan. It's better than the 74 other plans I had a minute ago. This one's a winner. That's fucking hilarious.
But it was always like that one more run and I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll
17 times.
But it was so much better when you actually did beat it. Like, do you remember the first time you beat a tower in Mortal Kombat?
No.
Like, did you ever beat Goro?
I want to say yeah, but I really have. My childhood was not overly traumatic, but I have no childhood memories. Like, I don't know what it is. I might need to see a therapist. I can remember, like... I'm
sure if you think about it, like, certain things come back.
I can remember, like, 10 things from childhood well. Now, I didn't have a Sega, so if I did it, it was at somebody else's house.
Oh, yeah, you had to put in work to get there.
But it does seem familiar. Okay, so he also explains that some of you will have the pleasure of meeting and fighting Prince Goro, who
is the reigning champion.
Now, if you have never seen Goro, if you live in a cave and haven't seen this movie or any of the video games, this motherfucker got 4 arms. He's got 2 normal arms and then 2 arms below that coming out of his waist.
One for each of you.
He's huge.
So do you think coronavirus was going around, all these dudes in masks and hoods? Or
I don't think that trick or treat is going to be a thing that can happen this year. But if so, every little motherfucker is going to be dressed up like Mortal Kombat.
Sub-Zero. A goon. Dude, if you saw a Mortal Kombat goon, would you have to give that kid extra candy for the effort to be the goon instead of...
He could be anything, though. Like, that goon could be from, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, he could be from anything.
But I would immediately, like, especially if he's got the weird-ass t-shirt around his head with the hole in it. And the
it is just a tied-up shirt around
holder.
his head. That is weird.
Or, like, so you could be Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Smoke, Katana, Melina... Jade. You could do Baraka and have a mask as the T.
Yeah.
You could do a lot of things.
Yeah. So there's your Halloween options.
So...
I'm sorry. Shang Tsung leaves after his little demonstration, and our 3 fighters follow him.
Yeah. Liu Kang's following because he wants to kill him, he wants revenge. The other 2 tell him, hey, you can't challenge him yet. You know, this thing hasn't even started. But Sonya Blade's like, well, I'm going to follow him because I want to know her. He knows where Kano is, and I want to...
Raiden told Liu Kang he's not ready to fight him. Don't fuck with him right now. And she's like, well, he didn't say shit to me, bitch.
So she goes after him, but they all follow.
Right, and she keeps going, I don't need backup. Leave me alone. I don't need, like, everybody's there for their own reason. Like, they're not just there for you.
But why, she definitely needs backup. She's in a mysterious island.
Well, as you learn, her greatest fear is asking for help.
I guess.
But so they're going through all these caverns, and she's bitching about how she doesn't need help, and she's going to figure out what's going on here.
And then you see Goro's shadow.
Yeah, just the shadow of Goro.
And Johnny Cage is like, well, Sonya, if you're going to feel that way, I'm going to need you to go see what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
And then you could come back and tell us.
You go figure all that out.
Because Goro's got his arms all spread out.
Yeah. Now, I do remember, speaking of Goro, I remember being frustrated when he would, like, bear hug you with all 4 arms and just kind of shake you.
No. See, you have that memory wrong.
Okay. Is it the girl?
No. He grabs you with the 2 bottom arms, and he beats the fuck out of you with the top 2 arms.
You're right.
And you cannot get away for like 3 seconds.
He holds you with the bottom arms and then just pounds your head with the top arms. You are right.
You're sitting there just mashing buttons like you motherfucker.
I do have vivid memories of that.
See, as you talk about it, things come back.
Yes. So they are kind of like overlooking this happening. Kano and Goro are in this room having a feast of kings here. Goro's up on a throne, and Kano is being a right asshole. Just talking shit and eating with his mouth open and spitting food all over the place. Talking shit about Shang Tsung.
And Goro gives him a little lesson on Shang Tsung and how he learned the dark arts. And where he came from.
So he tells him he enslaved souls. He learned the black arts from the emperor himself. And he's like, well, I haven't seen any of these slaves walking around. He was like, you fool! He enslaves their souls! So he tells him he is the prince of the subterranean Shao Kahn people and the leader of Outworld's armies.
Yes. He's like, I'm kind of a...
Big deal where I come from, too.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a special kind of person to try to one-up a prince, a subterranean prince, with 4 fucking arms. I feel like we also have not said, in case you did not know, that Kano has 1 eye, and like half of his face is metal, and his eyes red. Like a cyborg kind of situation.
Kano is like if the Terminator was an asshole and also sucked.
Yes.
It's basically, he's
a cyborg, right?
A little.
Kinda.
He's more
enhanced.
human. He's more of an enhanced human than a cyborg. But he's very scary. Like, he's got that, like...
Oh, he's terrifying.
That warrior ponytail, the 4 arms, and he's fucking chiseled.
And he's
huge. Got, like, a 32-pack.
He's huge. He's a giant. And he just has on a loincloth.
Which kind of works against him later.
Now, he is a puppet.
Well, there's a guy...
The
top half is a puppet.
He is a puppet. There are so many guys. It says... Goro had 13 to 16 puppeteers. One guy would be doing the eyeballs, the other guy would be doing the eyebrows, the other guy would be manipulating something else. They spent $1 million on that puppet.
Ooh.
The animatronic Goro, so there were 2, the animatronic Goro regularly broke down on set, prompting crew members to joke that his diva-like behavior, saying Goro won't be coming out of his trailer today. Several scenes had to be cut because of these limitations.
So Shang Tsung comes to visit during this little talk. Kano wants paid. He says, you'll get paid after you fight Sonya. It's like, don't
harm her.
Don't harm her, just humiliate her.
Right. He has plans for her later. So he's like playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. He's setting up moves.
Yeah.
He's got his end game ready to go.
And apparently while he brought the ship in to that pier in Los Angeles or wherever the fuck it was, he stocked up on Aquanet because later on, I know Outworld ain't got no hairspray.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, Lord. So...
But our group is eavesdropping on that.
And they decide to leave at this point. But when they get up, Shang Tsung kind of hears rocks shift. They're trying to find their way out. Oh, wait. He also explains that Katana is 10,000 years old and is the rightful heir and must not be allowed to join with the humans, especially with Liu Kang. Then they decide to leave.
Yep. So they're trying to get back, and...
That shit is like a fucking labyrinth.
They don't recognize what they walk back out into, and then you see a shadow, and then they see Katana. But then you also see Reptile, who's following the group, and Katana.
Well, Katana tries to help lead him out, but Reptile, you kind of see him because he's in that, like, Predator camo.
Yeah.
I do have a fun fact about Reptile.
Alright.
While he was a popular character among gamers, there was no room for him in the original script. So he wasn't in the movie at all. So that all changed after studio got feedback from test audiences on the first cut of the movie. The audience response
Somebody was like, where the fuck's Reptile?
Yeah, the audience response was 100% uniform. We love everything we see, but there's not enough fights, and where the fuck's Reptile? They said they went back and spent a lot more money and shot more fights.
If they had to add fights, Jesus. You get halfway through the movie before you get to the first real Mortal Kombat fight.
Yeah.
Because the first one is technically just a demo.
Yeah, true.
We haven't gotten to the first fight yet.
Yeah, true.
How are they going to have a Mortal Kombat movie with, like, 4 fights?
I don't know.
Wow.
Needed more fights. But so, audiences were like, fucking, we need more Reptile. Or Reptile at all. So he's there in his Predator camo. Liu Kang's kind of like looking like you could see him, but you can't see him, and he spits like the poison venom in his eyes.
Yeah. Now, earlier we were talking, didn't you say that Scorpion was not in? Or was that the first draft of the writing?
Yes, it says Scorpion was not featured in the original version of the film either. And that the actor that plays him was just like a stunt guy. after the audiences threw a fit that there needed to be more fighting, they added Scorpion and asked him if he would do the part.
So why were people all jazzed up that there was no Reptile but no...
Well, I think it was also no Reptile, no Scorpion, like what the fuck are you people doing?
But they did have Sub-Zero?
So, yes.
Okay.
Apparently. There was no mention of it.
Sub-Zero
Said he was originally, the actor that played him was originally hired as a stunt ninja on the movie and martial arts teacher for the members of the cast. His role changed when test screening feedback called for the film to include more fights, as well as include more fight scenes between Reptile and Liu Kang in the reshoots. Another between Johnny Cage and Scorpion was planned. Scorpion had not been featured in the original version of the film. That's fucked up. Like, how do you make a Mortal Kombat movie without Scorpion?
Scorpion's, in my opinion, he's probably one of the most popular.
Right? Like, you can't think about Mortal Kombat without Scorpion and his, like, get over here!
Yeah. Can you do that again?
Get over here!
I think it gets a little more distorted every time you do it.
Well, you do it.
Get over here!
Oh, that one is better. Well, shit.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. Anyway, we're at him, Reptile spitting poison or venom or whatever into Liu Kang's eyes. The rest of the people come rushing in. Reptile scurries away.
Because he's a little bitch.
But, so Johnny Cage is like leading the way now. And he's like, she went this way. I can smell her perfume. But they are tearing down an entire corridor of spider webs that have clearly been there for 1,000 years.
Yes.
She clearly did not go that way. Why does nobody be like, hey, you're a dumbass?
I don't know.
So he leads them right back into the room where Goro had been.
Yes. And then they have their little scuffle with the goons.
Yes, with all of the guards. And they beat a handful of them, but then way more of them show up and Raiden has to save their ass again.
Yeah. Well, they're all like, we did this, blah, 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 and Raiden slow claps for him. And he's like, what are you going to do about those guys?
Yeah.
And there's like 30, 40 more over there.
Fully with weapons this time, too.
Yeah. So Raiden leads them out. He's like, not today, guys. And he's like, I believe you will find this is the way out. And
right.
Walks through everybody. Which, again, this doesn't go with the whole honor system that the whole Mortal Kombat thing's bound on, which is apparently fucked anyway when you get to the end of the movie. Well, I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, well, Shang Tsung's a bastard.
Always has been.
But Raiden explains that Shang Tsung's power comes from souls. So when you're fighting him, you're fighting
a legion of adversaries.
Right. And that goes to the next day when the tournament starts.
And Liu Kang is chosen to fight first against some rando that we don't know.
It said he's just an outworld warrior. I always thought he was supposed to be like Cyrax because he's
I could see
black and has like the braids.
But Cyrax is an Earthrealm.
But
he comes from the same clan.
The Lin Kuei.
Sub-Zero, right?
Yeah. But in the movie, in the second Annihilation, he works for Outworld. Because he is in the second one. So that was not him in this first fight.
I just thought it was a rando goon.
It is. It's just an Outworld warrior is always credited as. But he quickly loses to Liu Kang.
And then here's the first part that's fucked up. Is Shang Tsung takes that guy's soul. Like, Shang Tsung didn't defeat him.
Right? I find that...
He doesn't have the rights to that guy's soul.
I find that very fucked up, too. Like, if you beat him, take his soul, I guess. Yeah. But you can't just be taking souls that other people fuck up. Like, that's not right.
It'd be the same if, like, Liu Kang defeated him and Liu Kang decided not to kill him because it's Mortal Kombat. Shang Tsung can't come over there and stomp his head in. Like,
right. It's
not
right.
how it works.
It's not right. But Shang Tsung does indeed come take his soul.
So then you get to the second fight where Shang Tsung gives Sonya Blade Kano as a gift.
Right. So Kano is from Earth, but for a profit is fighting for Outworld.
Yeah, he's
which makes him a hell of a piece of shit, right?
The universe's most terrible mercenary.
I guess so. He's a real piece of shit.
So she quickly, they attempt to...
He hurts her a couple of times.
In Liu Kang's fight, he never really did any signature moves, right?
Right.
Well, in her fight, they tried to get their attempt on her scissor flip.
She does the handstand.
Yes.
Grabs his head with her legs, twists, and flips him.
They botched it a little bit. It would be hard to do in real life, and the way they did it just didn't...
It was good. I liked it.
I mean, it was close enough to where you're like, oh, okay, that's definitely her move.
Right. But he says, Shang Tsung stands up and says, finish him. And he's like, no, Sonya, babe, don't do it. Give me a break. And she was like, you got it. And breaks his neck with her legs.
Yes.
Now, growing up, and for a long time, until like the last Mortal Kombat game, Sonya Blade was my go-to fucking character because of that move. Because she would grab your head with her legs and twist you and throw you. And I fucking loved it. There was one where she kind of did like this straight, like put one leg straight up and just grabbed your head with like the bend of her knee and flipped you. I loved it. I was always Sonya Blade. They fucked her up in this last game where she's voiced by Ronda Rousey, and they full on made her super military. And like she's always had a gun, but like guns and these like electronic drone that shoots you, like those are her moves instead of anything cool. So I went to my backup character as my main character, which is Katana.
Alright, I'll now go to my favorite character.
You're Liu Kang, live or
Liu
die.
Kang, all day. I can destroy anybody with Liu Kang.
Anybody?
Anybody.
Anybody seems like fighting words.
Anybody. Anybody can get it anytime with Liu Kang.
We'll see.
Bicycle kick your ass into oblivion.
We will see. We will see about all of that.
What the?
Now, I think it was Mortal Kombat X. I also enjoyed being Mileena because she would jump up on your shoulders and then eat your face. And I loved that shit.
I feel like if her and Baraka fought, you know how like
it would just be teeth.
like you ever like somebody elbow you accidentally in the face, or like you turn around and somebody's hands there, like they hit your tooth,
right?
And like your tooth feels like it's bending or something. I feel like if her and Baraka fought, they would just clang teeth. All
It'd
the
just
time.
be teeth everywhere.
I would say, who's my second? I also used to like Kung Lao, where he would throw his hat.
Yes, you did. The hat thing always aggravates me.
Baraka, the first one that Baraka was in, I think 3. When you uppercut, you duck down and then you punch, and that does the uppercut. But you could also duck down, and he would just do his arm blades.
Mm-hmm. All right, so back in the movie, Sonya has just killed Kano, which leads us to our third fight, which is Scorpion versus Johnny Cage.
Yes, they are in the woods stage. Johnny's walking around. He hears, "Get over here," and he kind of avoids the harpoon. He gets stuck in a tree. He runs like
around a tree, and it can't reach him the first time.
The rope retracts back, but Scorpion drop kicks them both into scaffolding hell.
Yes, they are definitely in hell.
They're like, but it
looks like
it's where scaffolding goes to die.
It looks like a Freddy Krueger nightmare stage
that is being built. Like there's all kinds of scaffolding, but nothing is being built.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the dead worker skeletons at the bottom of all this scaffolding.
Yeah, that's fair. So Johnny Cage is just full on getting his ass kicked. And then he's decided to try out for the U.S. gymnastics team and hit some uneven bars and does his uneven bar routine, stands up on top of it finally, which pisses Scorpion off. He kicks it down, and then they fall into a feather pit full of dead bodies, full of bones.
Scorpion rips off the mask and does the flame attack, and Johnny finds some kind of shield or something and shields himself from it, and uses the shield to kill.
Well, he throws a spear at him first, and it nicks his arm, and fire starts shooting out of his arm. So then he starts hitting him with the shield, and like lava starts pouring out of him. And then he explodes into a giant explosion.
Yeah, so how does Johnny get out of hell? Out of scaffolding?
Well, I don't know. I assume he's teleported back by I don't know. Johnny does they call it the friendly finisher from Mortal Kombat 2 because everybody bitched that Mortal Kombat 1 was too violent. So they made friendly finishers for everybody, which is just his signed headshot. Laying like Scorpion explodes and it's just his headshot laying there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he gets out. I'm going to officially go with magic.
Just exit stage left.
Right. So then we have Liu Kang versus Katana. Now I am so confused because Shang Tsung has said multiple times throughout this we have to keep them apart. They can never be together. So why does he pair them together? in this fight. Like, that gives them opportunity to meet for the first time, to talk, to be around each other.
Maybe said when one of them would kill the other one.
Like, that's never gonna happen.
But during this fight, she's like giving him advice. She's like, to win your next fight, you need to use the element that brings life.
Right.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Shang Tsung's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, Katana! But they're just going through the movements, like...
Yeah, she also tells him if you don't fight with all of your heart, then you definitely will lose.
Right. But they're just kind of going through the movements, and then finally, Shang Tsung just ends the fight and tells her that she's a disappointment. But I don't understand what he thought was going to happen. Like, he said they have to stay apart. He said that she needs watched because she is an adversary as well in this.
So after that fight, you see a monk-like guy wearing a robe and a hood, walking through, has 2 buckets of water on a pole. He sets them down very...
gingerly.
Peculiarly at the end of this... What would you call that?
I mean, it's basically a fight stage, but...
But he sets them down and, the hood comes off, you see it's Raiden.
Alright, he takes a drink, shows you it's water.
So Raiden's got a little gamesmanship in himself, even though they're supposed to be... I think he's like, hey, if Shang Tsung's gonna do this, fuck it, let's go.
He's gonna cheat, I'ma cheat.
So then, out comes Sub-Zero and Liu Kang.
Liu Kang and Sub-Zero.
So this will be his 3rd fight.
Yeah, Liu Kang's really putting in work.
And they go at it for a while, and Sub-Zero gets pissed off, and he's doing his whole freeze ball thing.
Yeah, he makes a huge bubble, like frozen bubble around him.
Liu Kang his fist kind of touches it, and he... I guess the pain from it freezing, falls back, he knocks one of the buckets over, the little orb of freezing comes over, freezes that water, and he's like, oh. What you also see Katana roll by.
Right, watching.
And like, he remembers her saying, use the element that brings life. So he grabs his bucket, he bucket flips an ice dagger right into Sub-Zero.
Yes, he does.
He twirls it around, throws it launches through the thing, the bucket breaks, the ice turns into a dagger, kills Sub-Zero, and that's done. Fatality.
Yep. So Shang Tsung is pissed off. He goes and gets Goro. Goro's like, is it Tom? He's like, yeah, we've let these humans win long enough. Get all your fucking hands and let's go.
Dusty.
So then you just get like a bodies hit the floor montage where it's just people falling over. And you assume it's Goro's kicking everybody's ass.
Goro's victory montage.
Right. But Goro's not in it. It's just people falling.
People falling and hitting the gravel and passing out.
So then it comes to Goro's actual first fight that you see. And it is Goro versus Art, which was Johnny Cage's friend from the pier. Now, he clearly doesn't have a chance in hell. He turns around and sees him. He's like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Johnny Cage and Sonya have decided they're going to be like his corner men, and they are trying to tell him what to do, move, punch, do this, do that, and trying to hype him up. You got it, you can do it, but no, he cannot, and no, he does not, and he gets his ass kicked.
And then again, Shang Tsung takes his soul, which he did not deserve.
He says, finish him, and Goro does kill him first.
But still, like, Shang Tsung did not defeat him. He does, in the whole Shang Tsung's soul or enslaved, that doesn't go with like the lore of the game.
Right.
So I thought that was just a bad part.
But weren't you expecting more from Goro? Like, he says finish him. Weren't you expecting...
I wanted him to grab him with the bottom arms and beat the fuck out of him with the top arms until he's like gushy.
Like, weren't you expecting some kind of like brutality or fatality, like him holding him over his head, which he does at one point,
and
just ripping him in two, or something? But no, he doesn't do any of that.
I'm totally against remakes. If they remade this movie, I would want to watch it.
It's coming out January 2021.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it might be later now due to the coronavirus, but it was set for January 2021. I was saving it for last.
So are they going to do it right, though? Are they going to...
Seem to be.
Can they just scrap this whole thing?
I believe they are scrapping it all.
Like, this is good for what it was, but treat it as if it doesn't exist and go for new. And fuck everybody's feelings. Fuck the ratings. I want to see brutalities.
I'm sure it will be
rated I want to see fatalities, and I want to see people get ripped in half.
They said about the rating in this one, because I had an issue with that too. and I have an issue with what this says. It says they couldn't kill any humans on screen and still get a PG-13 rating, which is what this is rated. Said the assistant producer said, "We needed to make the movie PG-13. That was a tough one, being a very violent video game. We got in real close with the rating board to find out how many curse words we could have, how much blood we could have, etc. What we learned was that if you killed a human on screen, you got an R rating. What we needed to do was, any deaths that happened on screen needed to be something other than human. If you look at our movie, you had Goro killed on screen, spoiler alert, but you could get away with that and still get a PG-13 rating. But here's my issue. They killed Art. They killed Kano. I don't know if they consider Kano not a human because of the eye.
It wasn't on screen. You're looking dead at Sonya Blade as she snaps his neck, and then you never see him again.
So Art wasn't killed on screen either? Because he said prepare to die and, like, takes his fist and punches him, but you might just be looking at Goro. I'm not super sure. But, so, it says that you couldn't kill a human on screen and get a PG-13 rating, but I feel confident, especially given the success of a rated R Deadpool,
yes,
that they will have no problem making this rated R in the future.
This movie should have never been. They should have never. That's probably what ruined this whole thing.
1995 was a weird time anyway. I also don't know. I mean, like, obviously don't work for the rating board, but I feel like you can kill somebody on screen and still get a PG-13 rating now.
I guess they wanted to make money and they needed more people to be able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, now today, this could definitely be rated R, and it would definitely make money, because there's fucking kids that are going to see this movie if they want to see it anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And they need more blood, and more fights, and more violence, and more just outrage, like over the top.
Ridiculous stuff. Like I really expected Goro to do something like crazy brutal, like hold him up, split him in half, something.
Yeah. Like, I want it to be so fucking wild that people who play the game are like, fuck yes. And people who don't play the game are like, oh my god, this generation is fucked.
Like, the games are awful. And, like, they keep progressing and getting, like, more and more crazy. Like, now they have the x-ray modes where you can see them, like, popping organs and breaking bones and things that should definitely kill you,
Best
but don't.
part of the game, You don't know how you survive some of those x-ray moves.
So, Raiden kind of takes everybody aside, and he tells them all, one thing can defeat you, and that is your fears. He tells Johnny Cage his fear is that he's fake, and that makes him careless. He will accept any fight to prove that he's not fake. Sonya's fear is asking people when she needs help, and that leads to trust issues. And Liu Kang's fear is his destiny, which leads him to despair.
And what he also told...
And all of those lead to them losing.
If he told Sonya if she can't trust anybody, she can't win.
Right. So basically took the gang together and was like, get your fucking shit together.
Yeah.
You're all pieces of shit. Here's what's wrong with all of you.
So Johnny decides he's gonna go...
Challenge Goro.
And
he makes it sound like he's doing it to protect Sonya. He was like, I can't let what happened to Art happen to you. Not to you. Never to you. And I was like, what? You've known her for 48 hours.
I feel like that's him professing his love at first sight for her.
I guess.
Which goes on in the video games.
Yes, they are now married and have a daughter. Cassie.
But I was confused because I thought that was the wrong move. But then when Raiden...
so weird, right?
Yeah, because it feels like he's rushing. He's doing exactly what Raiden said. He's rushing into a fight for no reason.
You're careless and it leads you to accept any fight. And you shouldn't do that. And then he's like, I'm going to go challenge Goro.
But when he talks to Raiden, Raiden turns away. He's like, at least one of them gets it.
Yeah, he says
that confused me.
He said, you told us it was our Mortal Kombat. We have to fight it. We have to decide the rules. And he's like, finally someone gets it. And I was like, what the fuck?
That rule, it just went against what Raiden said, and it didn't mesh. Know. It didn't mesh. Like
it did, and it was problem.
Like, I feel like maybe there was a deleted scene somewhere.
It was an issue.
But he challenges Zoro. Goro. Could you imagine Goro with 4 swords? Like putting your ass to sleep with all those Z's?
Oh my god.
He could have been the Ambien mascot.
Putting your ass to sleep with all these Z's. Jesus Christ. So he tells Shang Tsung he wants to challenge Goro. And Shang Tsung says that's fine, but he gets to challenge the winner or whoever he wants himself and in whatever place or venue he wants.
Yes.
And he says deal, but Raiden swoops in and it was like, no deal. Not happening.
But Raiden's too late.
And he was like, it's too late, man. We done made a deal. Fuck you. But then Raiden somehow seems pleased.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
So then
Goro versus Johnny Cage.
Apparently challenges Goro, which we don't see the actual challenge being made. But Goro goes through his fucking grunt fest and takes Johnny Cage's glasses and smashes
Johnny
them
Cage comes in full movie star, sunglasses on. Goro crushes his glasses. That's where he fucked up.
Yeah. So basically, I don't think Shang Tsung ever says fight, but basically fight, and Johnny Cage jumps down.
He does a signature move.
Nut punches this dude.
Which is a signature move.
Yes.
He drops down to the split and punches him right in the nuts.
Right in the dick.
Which Goro did not do well with.
No.
He punches him in the dick and then he runs.
Which was brilliant.
Yeah. Has nobody ever thought to punch a man in the dick? Like, he's half naked anyway.
So while Goro's recovering, he runs out and he's going out to the cliffs. I don't know if he knew he was going to the cliffs.
I think he had a plan.
So he goes out and he basically hides. There's a very small area this cave leads out to, but he hides on the side of the cliff and he waits for Zorro.
Why do you keep doing it?
I don't know. I really want him to have the 4 swords.
I know.
So he kind of hides and he sucker kicks Zorro.
Stop it!
Zorro.
He doesn't even know he's doing it at this point, guys.
So he sucker kicks Zorro.
Oh my god! You shut up. I'll talk.
Goro. Johnny Cage hides. He sucker kicks Goro in the face.
You started over like I'm going to edit all that out, but that's not going to happen.
You can hope, right? Anyway.
Oh, he says, those were $500 glasses, asshole, and kicks him off the edge.
Which was very anticlimactic death for Goro.
Well, he's holding on to the edge, and he tells him, it's time for you to fall, which is what he says at the very beginning when you meet him to his stunt persons, I guess.
Or you could fall now.
Yeah, I don't know. It all wraps up, I guess. But yeah, he falls to his death. But you instantly hear Sonya screaming, no!
Yeah, so Shang Tsung takes Sonya Blade. He has challenged her, and the venue is going to be in the Outworld.
Yes.
At his tower.
Right, and he just has her by the hair, dragging her through the portal.
Now,
he takes her to the Emperor's castle in Outworld. Raiden explains that he can't follow, so they have to, and that Sonya has to accept the fight.
Yeah. Well, Liu Kang says he knows that she must accept it, but whether or not, and spoiler alert, she is smart enough not to fall for Shang Tsung's shit.
Yeah.
Say Shang Tsung shit. Shang Tsung shit 3 times fast.
I'm a pass.
So, Liu Kang and Johnny Cage get to Outworld.
Right, and Reptile zoops in there real quick too.
Yeah, and Liu Kang feels something off at it. He actually figures out where Reptile is.
Yeah.
And catches him. Johnny's like, what are you doing? And Liu Kang just kind of walking over next to Reptile, turns around. He like just fucking hammer fists him in the gut. What does he do?
He just kind of grabs him and like yeets him into this statue that's broken on the ground.
And apparently that gives him another form.
Yeah, he like grows these tentacle-like things out and takes over the thing, and he becomes a human.
Yeah.
It wasn't sound logic, but so then you have. But now when you're picking a character in the game, and it goes through and it's like Liu Kang, Sonya Blade. When Reptile transforms into the human Reptile...
Like when he enters the game...
It goes, Reptile. And it's the only one that it happens.
Yeah. When we were watching the movie, you mentioned the narrator. Like, there is no narrator. When they do the remake, there needs to be... It doesn't have to be a narrator per se, but just a hype man in the background. As soon as they go to fight, like, when they close up on Liu Kang... Reptile. And then right before they actually go at it, just in the background you hear, fight. That'd be awesome.
Right.
I also thought they could make an Adult Swim version cartoon.
Okay.
And either every episode resets or every season resets. So you could have characters die off during the fights and their brutalities, fatalities, and all that. And then there could be a completely new season, like every however many episodes.
Well, I mean, people die in the game all the time. You just have Quan Chi bring him back to life.
Well, you don't have to do it. You just ignore it altogether. But throughout that story arc, you know, if Sub-Zero died in the beginning, he's no longer there until the end. Somebody wins each season. And
are these real people, or is this like a celebrity deathmatch claymation kind of situation?
More just animated.
Okay.
Because you can do a lot more with animation as far as showing the brutalities, fatalities.
True.
And I think that would be awesome. Is it really cheaper though?
Probably. To animate than to CGI brutalities.
Maybe.
So anyway, Liu Kang and Reptile fight. Reptile in his person form. Liu Kang finally kicks off a special move, which is his bicycle kick.
For the win.
He bicycle kicks him like through a wall and he turns back into the reptile form.
The statue comes there, or the statue reforms as well.
It starts pouring out bugs and then Reptile reappears as Reptile and he's like, I don't think so, and like stomps him out.
Did Reptile pack his lunch into the statue?
I don't know what happened. It was one of the weirder moments.
So in Outworld, before they went to Outworld, Raiden had said, you will find, if you look hard enough, you will find a god in Outworld.
Right. They did not have to look hard at all.
Katana. So she's trying to tell him, you know, in the Black Tower, you will face 3 challenges.
Oh, she hits the whole backstory.
You will face yourself, you will face your enemy, you will face your worst fear.
Right, but she also tells them what happened to this world, to Outworld.
Yes.
That it used to be beautiful, and her father was the ruler. And Outworld lost 10 Mortal Kombat fights. They lost 10 Mortal Kombat fights, which let the Emperor come in and take over. He killed her parents and then adopted her so he could take the throne. And then she tells him about the Black Tower, 3 challengers, your worst enemy, yourself, and your greatest fear. So then you go to the Black Tower, and you see Sonya Blade in a fresh change of clothes. She now has on like a leather dress. Her hair has been teased up into the highest 80s volume possible. Yes. And she's chained by her wrists to 2 columns like they're sacrificing her to King Kong.
Yeah, they straight up stripperella her. She's barefoot.
She is barefoot.
Aqua netted up.
Yes.
But she's still not down with the bullshit. She knows she has to accept the challenge for this to be legit.
Right.
And she does not. She doesn't fall for it.
So all these monks enter, circle everybody, and she says, I'm not fighting you. He says, cool, you forfeit, I win. She's like,
bluffing her, basically.
Yeah, she's like, no, my friends will come for me. He's like, no, you're the only one here. If you won't fight me, you forfeit. But she just keeps saying, no, her friends will come. To which Johnny Cage throws off a monk robe, was like, they're already here, baby!
I guess you could say she has learned to trust, which is aiding them in winning this
Oh, because she needed help from others.
Yes.
Look at that. Everybody's growing so well. So
Liu Kang comes out and,
first,
Shang Tsung tries to challenge Johnny.
Well, first, he has the monks. He's like, take them away. He not even pretending they're there. And Katana was like, no. And stops them because she is their fucking princess. And was like, the Emperor would not be happy that you're trying to win this by deceit. So he tries to challenge Johnny. And he's like, no, I don't think so. Liu Kang's like, you're gonna fight me. And he whips off that robe, no shirt, greased up, ready to rumble. So they're like squaring up, getting ready to fight. Johnny Cage is just checking Sonya out, and he's like, I like the new dress.
Yeah.
I'm like, time and place, Johnny, time and place. So they fight for, Liu Kang and Shang Tsung fight for a while, going back and forth pretty well. Everything's cool until Shang Tsung's lip has the tiniest little drop of blood on it. And he stops everything. He looks. He's like, what have you done?
That's where you can tell that Shang Tsung has always been a little bitch.
Oh, he's such a little bitch.
You're going to get mad that you were in a fight you agreed to.
Right.
That's not how this works.
It is a literal drop of blood, and he loses his shit.
So he summons forth all kinds of goons.
Yeah, he whips up some souls
of his legion of adversaries. Which is, I guess, one way to interpret how they do it, because in the game he actually transforms into that person.
Well, he transforms later too.
But he doesn't fight as the transformed part.
Right. But you have Katana off to the side. He summons all these enemies, and she says, "Face your enemy." So, Liu Kang, no problem, kicks all of these warriors' asses very fast. Not even an issue. Shang Tsung says, "I can see into your soul." And she's like, "Face yourself." And he's like, "You can see into it, but you don't owe my soul, bitch." And runs up the stairs, and I guess that's all he needed to do to face himself. Because then it turned into, "Face your worst fear." And Shang Tsung morphs into Chan, Liu Kang's brother.
Which he is... I guess he's worried that he caused his brother's death.
Yeah, because he wasn't there to protect him.
Yes. And
he lays it on thick. He's like, "You promised to take care of me when Mom and Dad died." And meanwhile, spikes are rising up from the floor.
I was going to say, meanwhile, throughout this whole transitional period, gradually, where they went up the stairs, now there's a spike pit where they were fighting.
Right.
Which is one of the better stages.
Yes, I do remember the spike pit well as well. He was like, "It wasn't my fault. Everyone's responsible for their own destiny." And Shang Tsung's like, "Well, fuck, this ain't gonna work," and changes back into himself. And Liu Kang's like, "I am the chosen one." He's like, "You have all these souls, but no soul of your own. I pity you." And then just energy fireballs him into the spikes.
I called it the Fist of Fury into the spikes.
Some people had Dragonfire, but I wasn't sure if Dragonfire was that or not.
That is it. But what I wanted to happen is him to do the...
You want to see the bicycle kick in?
Not the bicycle kick, just the one that can go all the way across the screen.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just.
But so then Liu Kang goes, "Flawless victory." But it was fucking not.
It was definitely not flawless.
You've been getting your ass kicked for a while.
Yeah, he definitely got hit a few times.
Yes.
He got a few combos in, but he definitely got hit a few times.
So then, like, this bright white light shoots through the tower, and all of these souls are being freed from Shang Tsung's body, including his little brother's soul.
Yes.
Who is able to break the light and tell him that he'll see him when it's his time and he loves him and everything's great. They're like, "Let's get the hell out of here." They go back to Earth. It's the three warriors, Raiden and Katana, on Earth. They're celebrating. The monks are running around with their streamers. Everybody's happy.
The victory parade.
The sky turns black. You hear, "Bow to me." And Emperor Shao Kahn appears in the sky. The warriors are like, "I don't think so." And then the credits roll.
Dun-dun-dun.
Now, at this point, if I had had it my way, we would immediately go into Mortal Kombat Annihilation, since they are so close together. But Jason was having none of that shit.
You argued against it too, because it'd be too long.
It would be a little long, but
now here's where I argue that Shao Kahn has no class, and he's no better than Shang Tsung.
Shao Kahn is a bitch.
Apparently, Katana was wrong about the whole...
Our Emperor would be mad.
Yeah, because
she was just saying what she had to say. She doesn't like him either.
Yeah, but he's a little bitch too. He's a very large little bitch.
Yeah, with hammers.
Asshole. And that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
Now, before we get into anything else, I feel like if they remake this movie...
Right, which they are.
And the soundtrack doesn't heavily include DJ Who Kid. I am going to be...
Why
upset,
DJ Who Kid?
Because he uses the fatality.
You are right, he does do that.
If they do not have him in the remake, I'm going to be upset.
Let's talk about the soundtrack. They said, "We insisted on using electronic dance music, so EDM, which at this time was just insane. We got kicked out of 2 record companies completely. Sony wanted to produce the soundtrack and have it composed of cult rocker Buckethead with contributions from Eddie Van Halen. Virgin Records also put forward the idea of a soundtrack fronted by Janet Jackson." Can you imagine a Janet Jackson theme song for Mortal Kombat?
That would be garbage.
It's awful. They said we rejected both, and the studio moved forward with their EDM plans. Several DJs and dance musicians provided additional contributions to the film's music, It all paid off with the soundtrack going multi-platinum in just a few short weeks. It was the first EDM soundtrack to do so.
I feel like you just let DJ Who Kid do the whole fucking thing. And just every now and then, he hits the fatality button. Fatality.
But the soundtrack made it. Like, I don't know what the fuck they thought Janet Jackson was going to bring to this movie. Like, they had to just have a deal with Janet Jackson and been like, we got to put her on something. But this wasn't it.
Yeah.
She has no place in this movie.
I can't see any of her songs being in this.
No.
Like, from
any time period.
Beginning.
Anything she could have even made. Yeah, I can't imagine. They definitely did it right. The EDM hits just right.
Yeah, so right here, the fucking...
That flying kick.
The fucking 2 buttons over and a kick. Pow! Done.
Well, I know your secret moves now.
Oh, no, it's 2 back and 1 forward then.
Oh, yeah, sure it is now. So what do you want to do first? You want to do box office? You want to do the rips?
Let's do the rip.
Okay, there were 3. Trevor Goddard played Kano. He died in 2003 at the age of 40.
That's pretty young.
Lloyd Kano was Liu Kang's grandfather. He is literally just credited as grandfather. Died in 2012 at the age of 93. And Gregory McKinney was Jax for a brief second in the movie. He died in 1998 at the age of 41.
Jeez.
I know, right? Some early deaths. Okay, so Mortal Kombat spent 3 weeks as the #1 film in the U.S. box office, earning $122 million worldwide.
Not too shabby.
It spun a sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is kind of hot garbage. Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm and Mortal Kombat Conquest, which are both TV shows. Recently, and by recently I mean like 10 years ago, there was also a web series where...
Dude, was that really 10 years ago?
Jerry Ryan, who played like 7 of 9 on Star Trek,
everybody knows that,
was Sonya Blade. And that was about the extent of my knowledge of that web series.
We watched that whole thing, right?
I do not believe I watched it. I think I watched 1 episode.
Was there a cartoon?
A Mortal Kombat cartoon? Not to my knowledge.
There needs to be an adult cartoon. Adult Swim.
You've mentioned.
Needs to pick that up. They can have DJ Who Kid on there every week.
You want to write DJ Who Kid some kind of fan letter or something?
When he uses that fatality button.
I know he does. Okay. So, kind of like a Easter egg, I guess, if you will, for the movie. There is a Mortal Kombat 3 code hidden in the movie. When Liu Kang is fighting Reptile, you can see a sequence of 6 symbols carved into the wall above them. A question mark, Goro, the Mortal Kombat logo, question mark, Goro, Mortal Kombat logo, which is the combat code for Mortal Kombat 3, which had just been released in the arcade at the time that the movie premiered.
And what did that code do? When
you enter the code on the versus screen, you will randomly switch characters during the fight, forcing you to quickly adapt back and forth.
Both sides or just
both sides?
Nice. So, did they come up with that? So that code must have been before Blitz in the arcade, because they also had the code, like the three symbol codes.
I think a few things had the codes.
But I remember like big heads, and then
right,
like one of them made you fumble a lot. There was a bunch of cool ones.
Right.
Infinite Turbo.
So, are you ready to talk about the
Domotometer?
Do you want to take a stab at what it got?
I am unspoiled, and I'm gonna
Now, I want you to remember 3 weeks at #1.
But I still say the critics would have given it like a 40 or 50.
A 47.
Boom. Now, I would give it lower, but I'm going to say the audience gave it like an 8.
57.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even though it did that well at the...
I know.
Box office?
I guess the word didn't get out as fast in 1995. No social media, it was just typed up. So, it says... Rotten Tomatoes says, despite an effective, otherworldly atmosphere and appropriately cheesy visuals, Mortal Kombat suffers from its poorly constructed plot, laughable dialogue, and subpar acting. So maybe we were wrong. Maybe it would have been better with Tom Cruise, Sean Connery, and Cameron Diaz.
No, because to me, the story progression was a little off. and like some of the shit was just off. Like, yeah, I want to know if the guy who wrote the movie or wrote the screenplay have any background with the game. I mean, they had to have given him.
It said
stuff.
that the people who made the game had largely no say in the movie at all.
See, that's the problem.
And that the actor said that the script was garbage, so they changed a lot of it. They ad-libbed a lot of it, which caused an issue between them. Also, the director of this movie was not allowed to direct the second movie and was upset because he said that Annihilation killed his vision and fucked up this movie because it is a direct continuation, like beat by beat continuation. Like when Annihilation starts, they are exactly where they left off here.
Yes.
So he was very upset. He directed every single Resident Evil movie. And he says he continued to direct all of the sequels because he wasn't going to watch his franchise get butt-fucked again.
All right.
Butt-fucked may have been my word.
I feel like any time a video game movie is made, if you're not letting the creators make...
There needs to be some say-so.
If you're not letting the creators make the artistic decisions, you're basically fucking yourself in it because...
It seems to be very hard for people to make a good video game movie.
But I think that's because they don't they're like, oh, you're video game people, you can't write the story. Like, these people already wrote the story.
Fucking, I play the Mortal Kombat games, not necessarily because I like the fighting. I do like the fighting, but it's not the number one. I am so engrossed in the goddamn stories they're putting out. Our nephew, 11, 12 years old, I know how old he is, but, it fluctuated through the story. He will sit there. He just wants to watch the story. Yeah. He will watch the whole story. When it comes to a fight, because he's not very good at it, he will hand me the controller. I will fight the fight for him, and then he'll just watch the story. Like, he just wants to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. They've already written the story, so why not use it? Why not use their input?
Right.
Because what can happen is you make this movie, and... the people who made the game could be like, oh, well, fuck them. They didn't, we're not going to include any of the movie shit in here because of this. But if you include them in the movie and the movie adds something new and they think about something else, they can include it in the game.
I think you at least have to be a fan of the material. If you're not going to include the people who made the game, you have to at least be a fan. Because the people who made the Mario Brothers movie... Like, we fixed that movie upstairs in, 20 minutes. Yeah. We made it so much better. I don't think the people who made it were a fan of the video game franchise at all.
Not at all.
No. They did big disrespect.
Big disrespect.
But Resident Evil, it was a video game before it was a movie, right? And those seem to be well-liked by people. I mean, I don't play Resident Evil, so I have no skin in this game. I've watched a couple of the movies. They seemed fine. They're not really up my alley. They fucking freaked me out. But, same guy did it. So now it's time for Ratchet Reviews. 0.5 star. Goddamn. No titties. The only reason I play Mortal Kombat is for the big bazinga titties.
Wow. Wow.
They were trying to be PG-13, buddy. I'm sure if you type in Mortal Kombat porn to a search engine, you'll be good to go. Especially since this review was left July 26th, 2020. I guarantee Mortal Kombat porn is out there just waiting for you.
I wonder if that was like a new review or he's been waiting for a platform for 20-some years to be like...
Goddamn, no titties!
Titties. Like, how you gonna make that poor girl play Sonya Blade feel?
Or Katana.
Or Katana. Katana's very hot. Who is she?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can get back to you. Talissa Soto. But I'm here to say she got titties. 0.5 star. It's like a Bruce Lee movie mixed with a Goosebumps TV show.
I'm not seeing that at all.
I'm guessing Goro and Reptile. Maybe The Souls.
I'm just not seeing it.
No, not feeling that one. 4 stars. Would have been a 5-star film if Paul Anderson, who was the director, was brave enough to show that Goro dick.
Would have been interesting, I guess.
I don't know.
Here's my question. If Goro's got 4 arms, does he just have 1 dick?
I mean, it would give him options, right? Like, he'd never get tired of himself. Do you think Goro could reach his dick with his top arms? Or just his bottom arms?
Yeah, he could just bend over.
I've thought about Goro's dick more than I've ever wanted to in my life.
Like, it is a blessing for all these people that we cannot draw and animate yet. But if somebody wants to animate Goro jerking off in different ways, that would just... I could die happy.
Give him swords and call him Zoro.
Yeah. He's got 3 swords and he's just beating off with the other.
3 swords and a dick. Jesus. I think this person should team up with the I wanted to see titties guy and they could talk it out. He wants dick, he wants titties.
There's gotta be a porn somewhere.
I guarantee.
Where Goro and Sonya Blade go at it. They start off fighting. He delivers a pizza and they see each other. They start they start fighting. Things have gone downhill.
Goro delivers a pizza.
She's just at home. Yeah,
she's upset because Jack's got his arms ripped off.
Yeah, and then things kind of went bad and he had to start, doing other odd jobs. So he's delivering pizza to make ends meet and see each other.
Okay. We don't need to write the Mortal Kombat porn right now.
And then at the end, she says it's free because it was less than 30 minutes.
Okay. Wow. We're just going to move right on. 1.5 stars. I don't know if I would go as far as to call this a movie. It's more of a collection of scenes with a pretty banging theme popped over them. Also, was Christopher Lambert playing Raiden as a drunk uncle?
Maybe. I feel like there could have been so many more
Asian people.
So many better choices. The guy who played, we just talked about him the other day. Genghis Khan. And Doctor Strange dude. He could have played it. BD Wong could have played it.
I don't know if these people are old enough to play this in 1995.
BD Wong, they could make him look old.
But I mean, I think some of these people were children.
No,
in 1995.
How old is BD Wong?
How old is BD Wong?
BD Wong would have been fine.
He's not the right body type for Raiden.
The dude that played him's not the right body type for Raiden.
He's not the right ethnicity. He is the right body type.
No.
It's 1995. Like, we're lucky they didn't do some fucked up shit with his eyes and make him look more Asian. To be honest here.
Like, if they were going, we can get Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, they could have definitely tried for Jackie Chan. Or BD Wong.
I mean, they tried to make him Donald Glover. Or, not Donald Glover. They tried to make him Danny Glover. Do you feel like Donald Glover could have done it like he does everything fucking else, so why the fuck not be Raiden?
He could have done it. I think he would have did a good job. Or if you're gonna go, I feel like if you're gonna go older, grandfatherish kind of mentor person, Morgan Freeman.
Why is he black now? He's still Asian.
But I'm just saying, like, older grandfather type.
Alright, we're gonna move past you trying to cast this role to our last Ratchet review. It is a 3-star review, but then they've went out of their way to give it a 53 out of a 100. A cinematic GIF.
That math does not check out.
No.
Because you need to be a 60% out of 100 to get 3 stars.
God, he's gonna do math now. Shut up. A cinematic GIF. Johnny Cage and Scorpion fight in a forest of mirrors, reflecting their moves until their fiery machismo shifts the entire stage into a strange, hellish treehouse arena. It's one of the countless sequences of glorified, enraged cheese, and the soundtrack, which can't possibly be from this earth because it's so good, brings all this insanity together. Flawless victory. Cue the techno music.
The math does not check out on that.
I know.
They give it a 3 stars.
Yes.
Then they say, it gets a 53%. Which that doesn't check out. And then what they said doesn't check out either.
I'm sorry.
That was definitely 5-star review words.
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't write it. I just read it to you.
There were no mirrors. They were just...
There were no mirrors.
They were in like an orchard somewhere.
Yeah, it was just a forest. I think what got them into the mirror is Scorpion's very weird hiding behind a tree, cartwheel out, looks super fucking weird.
Get up.
So now that you know math, what are you going to rate this movie?
I give it a 3.
That's higher than I thought you were going to go, to be honest with you.
What'd you give it?
I'll give it a 3.5.
So I think during the remake, if they have somebody just announce the fighter, and if they have like a walkout song.
A walkout song? So now it's just a UFC fight?
Basically. DJ Who Kid on the soundtrack.
Now, they tried to have a Mortal Kombat 3. It was Mortal Kombat Destruction. It went through several scripts, several rewrites, story changes. At one point, Johnny Cage was to be resurrected to fight Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. Apparently they had sets and everything ready to go, and Hurricane Katrina destroyed most of the sets and locations that were set to be used for the movie in 2006. Then in 2009, the people who played Scorpion and Johnny Cage announced that they would be reprising their roles, but nothing ever came of those claims. Then in 2011, there was supposed to be a new Mortal Kombat movie following the success of the web series we talked about, Mortal Kombat Legacy, but by October of 2013, that had fallen through. James Wan has now signed on to do the reboot, which is supposed to be January 2021, but coronavirus fucks everything up, so I'm sure it will fuck that up as well.
I really hope they do it right.
I hope it's done right too. But right or wrong, I'll still go see it. Or rent it on-demand video at home because we're not allowed to leave our house ever again. Any final thoughts? You had a successful run here. You pitched a Mortal Kombat cartoon and a Mortal Kombat porn.
Yes.
You renamed Goro into Zorro. Alright, so you gave it a 3, I gave it a 3.5. Are you eventually going to let me do Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Eventually.
Okay.
I feel like it'll be a while before we do sequels, though.
This is our second video game movie. Would you say you like this or Super Mario Brothers better?
This. It was more true to...
It was very true.
...the game, but it was also... It's weird. As off as it was still way more Mortal Kombat than Mario Brothers was Mario Brothers.
I think anybody, whether you played the game or not, could enjoy it. And then there's stuff that if you do play the game, you're like, oh my god, he said it! He said the thing from the thing! Oh my god!
But there wasn't as many fighting moves. Because Johnny Cage only did the one. And then he left his picture.
That is his move.
I
think everybody got a...
We got the bicycle kick, but I wanted the back forward kick
I
from
know
Liu
you did.
Kang.
Maybe in the sequel. Alright.
Alright, that's been Run It Back for Mortal Kombat. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah. Check out our website, runitbackpodcast.com. It has links to all of our social media pages. It has links for you to subscribe to our podcast on any of your favorite apps. We're on absolutely everything. And you can listen to our podcast straight from the website. That's runitbackpodcast.com.
Fatality.